Coming up next is Media News number 162, an all potpourri edition of Media News, where we talk a little bit about the controversy surrounding the Batman trailer. Also, we're going to talk about the controversy surrounding the director on the Thor movie, who's been ash-canned, from what I've heard. We're going to talk about Harrison Ford joining the cast of a big-time science fiction franchise. We're talking about Denzel Washington's new job taking the place of Edward Woodward in something or other. You stick around for that. The Man from U.N.C.L.E. we're going to talk about, and we're going to tell you what Anthony Hopkins and Alfred Hitchcock have in common. All of it and much more.
And then a recipe for cookies.
Right after this.
Wow, media news with good old JR and Comic Book Man. Nobody wastes your time better.
New Year's revolution would also lose weight. Dead weight. Media News, episode 162, Clandestiny.
Hey folks, how you doing? Comic Book Man here. Welcome once again to my video outhouse. It's time once again for...
It's time for Media News.
Media News. Media News number 162. It's a potpourri of media, fun, and splendorment. Holiday edition, of course.
It's a veritable cornucopia of
Splenderment.
Cornucopia vomitorium. And as always, Media News is coming to you from this place right here. Alternate Reality, which is located at the intersection of 111th and Kedzie in beautiful downtown Mount Greenwood. Alternate Reality, where no place on earth is more Christmassy than Alternate Reality in
Not even
Mount
Santa's
Greenwood.
Workshop? Oh.
Not even Santa's
Well,
Workshop.
he's not in Mount Greenwood.
Nothing is more festive than Mount Greenwood.
Although I
at
heard
Christmas
Santa's
time.
moving the workshop to Mount Greenwood.
Well, he wants his Taiwan on.
Oh,
So.
well, the elves like to,
Do you bathe in Southern Comfort?
Our first story up is the big controversy that's been going on this week on the internet about the upcoming Batman movie.
Dark Knight
Not so much the
Rises.
movie, but about the trailer of the movie.
Yes, it's a spiffy trailer. Well, there's a trailer. There's a regular 2.5-minute trailer out there. And for those of you that schlep your way out to a big IMAX theater and see the first 6 minutes of the film, you may know what the controversy is about. It is about Bane's dialogue. Supposedly, he's a little difficult to hear, just like that. Right there. Now, I've seen the regular trailer, and it has some Bane dialogue in it,
Yeah.
and I understood him pretty well. I know someone who saw the 6-minute first sequence of the film and said they understood him pretty well as well, but
Yeah.
there are a lot of people who are saying,
Huh?
what? Well,
Dumb it down.
Warner's does not have a... Warner's is not deaf to this, and I guess what they're a little concerned, and they want
Clean it up!
they want Christopher Nolan to go in and do some ADR. And for those of you not in the business, ADR is something dialogue recording. You change the dialogue is what you do. You have your actor come in and redub. Well, Christopher Nolan, who has a lot of autonomy because he makes a lot of money for Warner Brothers,
A ton of money for Warner Brothers.
says he's going to do some slight tweaking to the movie, but what you get is what you get, because Bane is a guy with an accent who wears a face mask.
You'd think they'd have a little faith.
You know, there's going to be moments where in reality, if a guy in a face mask with an accent is talking, you're not going to quite understand. And that's part of the realistic angle. If you want in your Batman movies from Christopher Nolan, that's what you're going to get. Yes?
Here's a scene from the upcoming Batman movie. What do you mean? I don't understand!
And
See.
And so on.
But we shall see. I mean, I think Nolan's going to get his way.
bravo.
Once again, he's made a lot of money for Warner Brothers. And what I've seen, I can understand him just fine. The dialogue seems okay.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see.
Also, generating some controversy over at the House of Mouse.
Yes.
The Marvel Universe is doing Thor 2. Oh, and they got a director all set after they got rid of that Kenneth Branagh guy.
Yeah, that
they got a
lousy
brand new
Kenneth
director,
Branagh guy.
Patty Jenkins,
Patty Jenkins.
who did Monster, who's
Yes.
come in and she had all sorts of great ideas for the movie, and things are just rolling right along, except
Yes.
for one little problem.
Yeah, she's rolling right out the door.
Right out the door. Get your ass out of here!
Here's the story, and a lot of this came to light. Marvel has dismissed Patty Jenkins, the woman who directed Charlize Theron to an Oscar. Yes, exactly. Who directed her to an Oscar in Monster. Now, a lot of backstory has come out. Natalie Portman, who is the female lead in the Thor
Yes.
film, and will be the female lead in the second
Jane
Thor
Foster.
film, Jane Foster, was instrumental in getting Marvel to hire Patty Jenkins in the first place. The reason being, she directed Charlize Theron to an Oscar, and she's a quality director.
I hope she didn't think she was going to
Yeah,
direct
I'm
her to an
not-
Oscar.
No.
It's a Thor movie.
The other idea was this would be the first woman to direct a superhero film.
Which is fine.
And when she was hired by Marvel, everybody said, wonderful, you've done a wonderful thing. You've hired a woman to direct a superhero film. That's a great move. Why has she been dismissed? The
You're a broad.
ever popular creative differences. Patty wanted to be creative, and Marvel wanted something different. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Marvel wants something cheaper.
Well, there's two sides to the story. Marvel said she was incredibly unprepared. She didn't have anything going. There's no script for this film yet. There's no script for the film yet. Okay?
What could be more unprepared than that? Where's your script?
Insiders are saying that she did have a clear vision for what she wanted Thor to be, Thor 2 to be. Marvel didn't like that vision, so she was summarily dismissed from the project.
Hence the creative differences.
Exactly. Now, the thing of it is that those same insiders are saying that Marvel is showing a great deal of hubris in their hiring of writers and directors. They also have supposedly a very arrogant attitude when they do take meetings with writers and directors. So
that will change when the first
when the
big
first
budget
stinker
flop
comes
comes
out.
out.
Exactly.
Yes.
Now, here's the problem.
And not that I'm jinxing it, but Avengers still hasn't come out yet.
Yes. Which we have a small...
which we all hope for.
I think
we all hope for.
There'll actually be an addendum about the Avengers after this story, so hang
Well,
in there.
so far it sounds like all they've been able to accomplish is pissing off Natalie Portman.
Well, that's just it. Natalie Portman is now summarily pissed about the situation to the point where if she didn't have a contract to be in the second film, she said she wouldn't be in the film. But now she's sort of wrangling to have some sort of control over who gets hired as
Who
director.
was the African-American actor in Iron Man 1 that didn't show up in Iron Man 2?
Oh, yeah, Don Cheadle.
Oh, yeah, okay.
The other
Well,
guy.
Don Cheadle took his place.
I forget who the other chap was.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
But...
Could Natalie be getting recast?
Well, Natalie is also an Oscar winner now, too. Do you really want to start shuffling people out the door?
I don't think Marvel gives a good goddamn about
Apparently
Oscar
not.
winners. I
but
really
at
don't.
some point, Marvel is going to have to start giving a rat's ass about
Not as long as people show up to watch the movies.
So here you go. You've got Patty Jenkins out the door, an Oscar-nominated director. Who are they going to bring in? They're looking at a couple of TV directors.
Oh,
So there you go.
man.
And TV directors from Game of Thrones, HBO's Game of
Can you say Return of the Jedi?
Whatever, man. Now, to follow that up with the Avengers addendum, it just came to light today, or actually 2 days ago, that Marvel has said that the Avengers will be shot in 2D, converted to 3D in
that's stinky,
post-production.
isn't
It looks lousy.
Yeah.
So just pay the smaller price and see it in 2D. You'll be fine. Because you know what you're going to get? You're going to get a lot of hammers thrown at you. You're going to get a lot of shields thrown at you. You can live without that.
Over in the Marvel Universe, they're doing adaptations of Orson Scott Card's Ender's Game. As a matter of fact, I think that's over with. This is not necessarily a Marvel story, but because Marvel does do Orson Scott Card's Ender's Game, I'm going to follow with it
Oh,
next.
that's not a bad segue.
That's
Yeah.
our segue. And you have a story on it.
Yeah, Orson Scott Card's Ender's Game, and a lot of you know this already, was sort of the cornerstone of the cyberpunk movement. That was the novel that sort of started that all. Now, Card, since then...
Formic Wars. And
Exactly.
Cyberpunk.
Since then, he has beat that into the ground. I think he's done about 10 novels since then, and each with diminishing returns. But it is what it is. The inevitable motion picture is coming. It has a weighty cast. The star of Ender's Game will be Asa Butterfield, who is Hugo in Hugo. The film also stars Ben Kingsley, interestingly enough, who's also in
Hugo.
What the?
Abigail Breslin is in the film, and now another former A-lister has joined the cast of the film, Harrison Ford.
Oh, really?
Back to the realm of science fiction, more full tilt than Cowboys and Aliens, but back to the world of
So
science.
it's another Blade Runner for him, huh? That's a replica.
It's a novel about a battle school in space. So I
Well, it's about a
he will
kid.
be some sort of grizzly commander.
There you go, kid. You're shock stick.
That's exactly right. He's playing an aged general in the film, which would have been Stan Lee had the price been right. But anyway,
Excelsior!
the character of Ender in the book is, I believe, 8 years old, and Asa Butterfield is like 14, I think 12, 14
Might be
years old.
tough
But
to pull that off.
yeah,
'cause
but
that
we'll
was
see.
that was a key to the
Also,
book.
the film is directed by the same director that gave us X-Men Origins Wolverine. So
Oh,
yeah.
great.
Just trying to make up for that.
Yeah, well, we can only hope.
This franchise out there, television franchise that nobody's done anything with since the show went off the air, but is much beloved by everybody, including Bo, who does our comic book news.
Yes.
And then, of course, is The Equalizer, which
Equalizer.
originally starred...
Oh, what was that chap's name?
Robert
Woodward.
Woodward.
Edward
Woodward.
Edward Woodward.
I think Edward Woodward.
Say that five
Anyway,
times real fast.
It's coming back.
Yes, and
with a Brit.
I was just going to say, when you think of
Actually, no.
of a big screen substitute for Edward Woodward,
Liam Neeson.
who would you?
Well,
there you go. See?
Actually, yeah, that wouldn't be a bad idea
that's
because
not a bad
what the
idea.
hell? It's not like he can't cash
And
a
it's
check.
hell, it's not like the guys in every third movie that's coming out anyway.
But
No.
the original Equalizer, the series it wasn't based on Edward Woodward, but once
Right.
he took the role on,
Right.
it became wrapped around
Round
him.
Edward.
It was
Exactly,
all about
exactly.
Edward Woodward.
Well, we now have a new Equalizer in the motion picture version of the Equalizer, and
Yes.
that is Denzel Washington.
Oh, why not?
Yeah, yeah.
What the
Well, he's
hell?
an action lad himself.
Yes.
The film is being written by Richard Wank, who wrote The Mechanic and the upcoming Expendables 2. So I'm sure it will be action-packed, violence galore. I never was a fan of The Equalizer. I'm sure it's a fine show to
I've
go
watched.
back and
I've
watch.
watched a couple episodes. I got a couple episodes on tape from somebody. They lent them to me to watch. It was part of a collection. That
I am familiar with the collection.
So
yes.
I've seen more than my share of episodes here at the store. You know, I never really watched it when it was first on.
Me either.
And it was an okay little show. I mean, the show is and was and rotated around Edward Woodward. I mean, without him, you didn't have a show.
Yeah, but his audience was old.
Yeah,
That's
it
what
was-
CBS set up.
it was an older
we
audience,
were
yes.
the old network.
Well, CBS has always gone after the older demographic,
And that
and that
was-
fit right in.
Yeah.
But I mean, the show lived and breathed Edward
It
Woodward.
ran
and
about 5-6 years.
he was a good core to it. He was a good core to it. He had some medical problems. He had some health issues, and then the show eventually went off the air because of that. But
That is correct. Could we call him Woodward Edward? I
Oh.
like that name better.
whatever. Another franchise though, that
Another
was
one?
on television
Yes.
forever and ever and ever. But before The Equalizer was The Man from U.N.C.L.E.,
Yes,
which
it-
we've talked about before.
Yeah,
and
because
give an update.
this is one of those productions that seems to go in circles here. Steven Soderbergh had this. This was a dream project of his. He wanted to make the film with George Clooney as Napoleon Solo.
Which wouldn't be a bad idea.
It was going to take place in the 1960s, which
That wouldn't be a
sounded
bad
cool.
idea.
Clooney left the project. They tried to court Matt Damon. They couldn't do that. There was a third. The guy from The Hangover. He left.
What about Robert Vaughn?
What? He's 9,000 years old. And actually, he lives in England, and he's on some very successful shows.
He's on some very successful
Yeah.
show that's called Hustle, which
Yes.
is on Channel 11 right after Doctor Who on
Yes,
Sunday
that
nights.
is
And I've been
correct.
watching that, to digress.
Yes.
I've been watching that for the last 2 years, and it's actually quite
It's
a
a
smart little
decent
show.
show,
It
yeah.
spends a lot of time ripping off the Sting, but it does so
But
lovingly.
it is what it is. But now, not only have the actors left the show, but Steven Soderbergh has left the project as well. The studio was a little concerned over the budgetary aspects of it taking place in the 1960s.
Yeah.
Man from U.N.C.L.E. not exactly a household word, so the franchise idea there may not actually stick. It has gone over to Guy Ritchie, who's given
Guy
us
Ritchie.
the Sherlock Holmes films with Robert Downey Jr. That is in his camp now. Is it still going to take place in the 1960s? Nobody is saying. They're still haggling out the budget side of things. But with Ritchie involved, it's going to be more fisticuffs, probably.
More punches in the face.
More punches in the face, so look for that.
Another franchise from the 60s is, of course, Star Trek, which is moving along.
Yep. J.J. Abrams is signed on the dotted line to be the director. Shooting starts in January 15th. We are mere
Couple of weeks.
away from
In
shooting.
February,
Now,
they wrote a script.
again, this is another film that is going to be shot in 2D, converted to 3D. The other side of that coin is it looks like several sequences a la Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol and Dark Knight Returns and Dark Knight Rises, several scenes will be shot in the IMAX format. Big format.
Okay.
The Khan controversy.
Yes.
We could spend a moment about that. Benicio del Toro, we had mentioned here on previous media news eye, was attached to play supposedly Khan. Benicio is out. That deal has fallen through.
So it won't be happening.
Edgar Ramirez, who starred in a little independent film called Carlos, has been signed to play the same role Benicio was going to play.
Is it Khan? though?
All the insiders
But
are
they're not
saying, yes, it is. JJ is saying, can't tell you, but that's what all the insiders...
I'd love to tell you, but I can't.
I can't tell you. You're just going to have to pay your $15 and come to see the movie. Also, Peter Weller has joined the cast of the Star Trek sequel.
Really?
Peter Weller, who will be playing supposedly a...
Oh, he's gonna play Khan's right-hand man who was
No.
in Wrath of Khan.
No,
the,
Captain of the Reliant.
the Phoenix.
He is playing a large corporate CEO.
Oh, the same one you played in Enterprise in the last season that was trying to take over Mars.
It's great memory.
Oh, I
man.
gotta. For
Great
some
memory
things,
there,
I have a
comic
steel
book
trick.
man. Very good.
memory.
No, I'm sure it's not that same character. The film is due to be released May 17th of 2013.
Okay, and our last story, because I'm skipping over that one, because who really gives a rat's ass about
What?
Vin Diesel?
Thank you, comic book.
The people. The people.
And Anthony Hopkins has got something in common with Alfred Hitchcock, and that, of course, is
He's going to play him.
you got to play him. There you go.
There's a small independent film going to be made by Fox Searchlight, and the title of the film is Alfred Hitchcock and the Making of Psycho, which will be about, guess what it's about, comic book man?
Alfred Hitchcock and the making of North by Northwest.
No, so close, but yet so far,
I missed
comic
it.
book man.
You couldn't be more wrong.
I'm actually intrigued to see Hopkins play Hitchcock in this thing. He's already played Nixon.
Yeah.
Am I missing somebody? He played John Adams too in Spielberg's film
John
Amistad.
Quincy Adams.
John Quincy Adams. I'd like to see Hopkins' take on Hitchcock. Helen Mirren will be playing his wife in the film. No word is if there will be any talk of Hitch's.
They're going to have icy
Proclivity.
blondes cleaning his
proclivity of
cleaning his
love
head.
for Tippi Hedren at any point during the
Oh,
film.
any icy blonde. Tippi Hedren was one of
Well,
many.
supposedly he had a major thing for Tippi
Yeah,
Hedren,
well.
to the point of stalker-esque.
Why was she called Tippy? Anyway,
she like to
that's
drink-
it. We're
drink a lot, I don't know.
We're out of here. We got. Oh, look it up if you don't
She's
know.
a turnover garbage cans.
Look it up if you don't. Oh no, that's not it. Something to do with tips. But that's it. We're done with Finisher Out of here. We got no more media news, but
She's a waitress?
you can go to the store's website and check out all the media news that Bo sends me and all the
He's a
reviews this
handicapper.
man gives me. And
No, he's a
where
handicapper.
is the store's website at?
It's on the internet.
It's on the internet, right next to Tippi Hedren.
Right where it belongs.
www.miletunnelreality.com. It's just like Kool-Aid. Add sugar and vodka.
So stop off at the store's website and check out all of this man's reviews and all of Bo's
No, I don't
media
check out
news.
my-
Oh, come on, check it out.
Until next time, excuse me. This is Comic Book Man
And this is a clear throat of JR.
saying, bye.
It's not bubble. The Video Outhouse is brought to you by some of the finest people willing to work for free. This is a list of some of them.